posting some resources for you in the meeting chat. So just keep an eye on that chat as well for those pieces of information. Next slide is a little bit about us at Change Champion. So who are we? We are a boutique change and tech adoption Microsoft partner, and our mission is simple: helping people get the most out of Microsoft 365 technology. We don't sell license or technology per se, but our mission is to drive the adoption and value from your tech investments. So we partner with a wide range of organizations, which I'll cover in the next slide. And we're super excited to work with our clients and others on this mission. So our team is ProSci certified, and we're super passionate about technology and change management. We like to marry the two to help our clients with their needs. And we do, again, as I mentioned, we partner with some great organizations to drive the best outcomes for our clients. So that brings us into the next slide, which showcases our clients that we've either currently or have worked with in the past. And we've been really fortunate to work with organizations across Canada and North America in the public sector, mining, banking, finance, gaming, beverage distribution. We run the full gamut. So now, thanks for listening. I will pass the floor over to Augustine, who's the CEO of Change Champions. He's going to introduce himself and share our agenda for today.
Thank you, Ilana. Thank you, folks, for being here. We have some friends, some clients, some folks that we don't know very well, but I think it's great to see so much interest. Today, we're going to focus on a bunch of use cases where, as Ilana mentioned, Copilot, what we call the free Copilot, or better maybe said, is the Copilot that is included with your regular Microsoft 365 account. We're going to show you these use cases and show you how this Copilot is actually quite similar to the paid license that is worth $30 above and beyond what you have now. And for those of you who may be in IT and thinking about rolling Copilot and maybe thinking, well, we can only pay for certain licenses for a group of early adopters. Maybe you're thinking what to do with those that don't have the license. This is actually a great session because it'll show you how much actually is included in the free Copilot. So that's our purpose today. It's really to go from the most simple use case to more advanced use cases and show you step by step how the free version compares to the paid version. And I want to say that this session assumes you have some understanding of Copilot. We're not going to make this too introductory because we assume a little bit of knowledge, not too much, but a little bit of knowledge. And the other thing I was going to say is that some of the things you'll see here, like the creation of agents, you may not have the ability to do that in your organization because IT can control what you can or cannot do at the end of the day. But I think it's still good if you don't have it to see what's possible because potentially you could ask for that. So I'll try to cover as much as I can in a short period of time. So let's dive in. The first thing I want to just level set with everyone is that Copilot for Microsoft 365 is not just the next Google search, if you will. Is much more than that. Copilot is I see it as a great assistant for the work that I do. I like to think of it as an analogy of, if I hired someone to do the tasks that I would find repetitive and maybe less value add, Copilot would be that person, right? It's helping me with, as you see in the slide, analyzing data trends, creating presentations, drafting emails and action items from meetings, creating content, images, PowerPoints and whatnot. So really, for me, and I think Ilana could agree, is we have seen a dramatic shift in how we work because of this AI assistant. It's not that it's going to replace us, but it's definitely moved us from a place of content creation and more repetitive tasks to a place where we're coaching the AI assistant to do the work for us. Now, In terms of where you will find Copilot, if you have the free version, again, I'll keep talking about the free version in this webinar, you'll find it everywhere. Essentially, you can see it in Microsoft Teams if you've pinned it to the left rail of your Teams navigation. You will see it inside your Office apps, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, inside the app directly in there. You will see it on Outlook, for example, as a small little icon there. And my favorite is to access it from the web portal, because from there you can interact with the agent in its full view, if you will. But nonetheless, it's available in every other app that you work at, right? Something not to forget, Copilot is also available on your phone. So if you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. You can do a lot of the things that I'm going to show today on the phone as well. Highly recommend it. All right, now let's clarify a few terms. Microsoft never makes it easier for anyone, I feel. So we're going to try to sort of dispel the confusion here. So there's many copilots, but the ones that really we're focusing on today are the Copilot Chat, or the AKA free Copilot, which is, we put quote unquote free because it's not free. It's included in your Microsoft Work or School account, right? And then you have the additional subscription, which Microsoft likes to call the Microsoft 365 Copilot. And that's, again, $30 roughly a month. And it's basically, from our experience, it's been given to a subset of users within the organization, maybe early adopters, executives, or just folks that, IT or anyone making the decision decided to roll this out too. The main difference between these two is that the one on the left, the free Copilot, works and drives its insights based on data available publicly on the web. And the other one instead is driving its conclusions from both web, but also in your work data. I'll give you an example. Say, for example, I'm interacting with a client and he or she asks me, who is Change Champions? I can go into Copilot if I have the web or the free one, and it'll probably search on our website. It'll look for publicly available information about who we are, give me a summary, and I can respond to the question. If I have the paid version, now when I do a query, it's not only looking at the web, but it's also looking at internal documents such as this presentation, reading through those and crafting a response that is based on both internal as well as external information. So that, folks, is, as you will see, one of the main differences, because a lot of the other things that we'll cover today can be done with both. And that's what's so cool and why we're here, is because we want to show you why you don't need a paid license. Don't tell Microsoft to do all the great things that you can do with the paid one. Now, one more benefit I want to cover, and that is enterprise data protection. I will take this very seriously if I was you. Most of us and people that you know are probably using ChatGPT already, right? So what do? They need an answer to something, or they need to write an email. They'll go to ChatGPT, put the information, and get an answer. If you go to the privacy statements in the ChatGPT app, you will see that they train the language model. They train the AI with the information you provide. So if you're putting images of you, if you're putting information about your company, potentially this information could be now in the open. If you look at Microsoft, and again, we don't sell licenses, so we're pretty neutral here. We have read this, and it's actually telling you they're not training the model with your information, and it stays within the limits of your organization. So a huge reason to encourage your users to leverage this tool as opposed to shadow applications like ChatGPT. All right, so hopefully this session will invite you to do that. So without further ado, what I want to do now is I'm going to spend most of the time in Copilot Chat, obviously. So what I'll do is I'll pull the the web portal and start with some examples of Copilot. So let me just jump in there. All right, I hope you can see my screen there. So the first thing I want to point out is if you, again, if you like the web experience, you can go to m365.cloud.microsoft or portal.office.com. You'll land on this page. As you see,
Augustine?
Microsoft has made the landing page of Office 365. The first thing is Copilot, the first thing you'll see.
Augustine,
So,
sorry, your
yes.
screen is black right now.
Oh, okay. So let me just do that again. That's strange. There you go. Can you see it there?
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, so as I was explaining, portal.office.com or m365.cloud.microsoft is where you land and you will be interacting with Copilot Chat, okay? And you can see now why it's called Copilot Chat. It's because it's really a chat bot, essentially, right? Now, as I mentioned, this is one place where you can find it, but you can also go to Outlook, for example. So here's an example for you, right? We all receive a lot of emails on a given day, some of which are conversations where we are copied and maybe there's several people contributing to these emails. Now, we probably take a fair amount of time having to read, what people have said and trying to catch up on these emails. If you're like me, probably getting several a day. So with Copilot Chat, the free Copilot, you have the option to summarize your emails, okay? And so if I click on summarize, this is actually just been rolled out not long ago. You'll see that the window of Copilot Chat shows up on the right-hand side. And now I can quickly get up to date with what was it that was discussed between, in this case, Christine and this other person, mod administrator, in these two emails. And I can see that, for example, Christine informed me that Jordan will be reassigned to a different initiative starting next week. And then she acknowledged that this is a significant shift and workloads, and she needs me to confirm by the end of the day if I can assume the responsibilities of Jordan in this case. So I have a pretty tough email to respond to here. They're asking me, can I take more work, essentially, right? So how can Copilot, besides summarizing my emails, help me with this? Well, very simple. If you use Copilot, and again, from the side here, I can say, please help me respond to this email in a polite and friendly tone. And you'll see a lot of typos in today's presentation. There we go. So now this is the exact email that I needed. Thank you for looping me in. I trust your placing in me. I appreciate the heads up about Jordan's reassignment. Well, it's definitely a shift. I'm confident I can take the final phase of the project. Blah 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 blah. Right. So now save me a lot of time, and I'm easily able to copy this and just paste it in the email. So how is this different, by the way, from what you get in the paid option? Well, the main difference, folks, is in the paid option, you see this experience inside the app. So yeah, maybe it saves you a few seconds to have the paid option, but the exact same capability is already in Copilot in Outlook with the free version. All right, so I'll move to the next use case. The next use case is going to be about document summarization and comparison. We all work with lots of documents that are sometimes very lengthy, and what we want is the ability to take the key insights from documents and then ask Copilot to help us summarize them and ask Copilot to essentially give us more information about those documents. So I'm going to just pick a document here that I have for demo purposes. This is, we at Change Champions work with a lot of RFPs. I don't know if you heard of the term RFP. Oh, great. An RFP is basically a document that allows you to, well, I'm going to have to download an RFP, it sounds like. Let's see. I'm just going to go, maybe if I can find one document that I have here. Let's see. I'm just going to try to find one document that may be a bit long. Here. So, okay, so we have this document here. This is one of our offerings is a Microsoft Copilot Adoption Accelerator. And maybe this document was 10 pages long. I want just a quick overview and review of this document for me to be able to extract the key points. And then what I want is I want Copilot to help me answer some questions about this document. So how am I going to do that? Very simple, folks. So I'm going to go back to the Copilot homepage here, and I'm going to pick the document. I'm just going to move this to the right here so you can see it. Pick this document and drag it into the Copilot chat. All right, and now all I need to do is ask Copilot, help me summarize the key aspects of this document. Let's see what it does. There we go. As you can see, it's given me the purpose, the program structure, and the benefits. Now I can go further, as I mentioned, and inquire Copilot about this document. So for example, I am a client or organization who needs training in all areas related to Microsoft 365. Can this be a good fit for me? And by the way, I'm totally improvising here because I wasn't planning on doing this example, but as you can see, you can improvise with Copilot because there's no issues, right? Like you can learn by trial and error, essentially. And you can see that the document was uploaded. I got the summary, but I'm also getting great insights from the document. So I encourage you to think about how you could use this in your day-to-day. Say, for example, you have a very lengthy report that was written, and you then want to inquire the chat, the Copilot chat, to give you some insights. So great way to leverage another capability that Copilot has, which is the ability to summarize and work on documents. Now, I want to show you another use case. Many of you may need to compare documents, compare two documents, say two legal documents, or you may need to look at two resumes of candidates for a role. And you need to know, or you need a way to find out quickly who is the best person for the role that you're recruiting for. So let's try that example. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to say to Copilot, help me decide who is the best candidate for our current job posting. Now here you need to do two things. You need to provide the job posting and you need to provide the documents, of course. So I'm going to first grab the documents. They're again in my demo here. Let's do that again. Demo files. I'm going to grab two resumes that I have, this person and this person, Jordan and Priya. I'm going to move them into the chat. And the next thing I want to do is I'm going to go to the Microsoft, in this case, the Microsoft page for roles. And I'm going to use a Microsoft Customer Success Account Manager role as the example. I'm going to go and copy the link to this role and paste it in the Copilot window here. So here is the posting. Now, obviously, ahead of this meeting, I had two candidates. One of them is really good. Actually, I can't remember which one is which. And the other one was a little less prepared for the role. So let's see what Copilot does. So based on the job posting for the customer success account manager role at Microsoft and the resumes of these two, here is a comparison. It gives you a quick summary of the role requirements, and then it goes into each one of the specific candidates, and it tells you how they compare to this. Here's the money shot. It tells you the best fit, right? So another thing you could do is you can say to Copilot, please provide this in a table format, maybe. And so even better, maybe more visual. So again, remember, you can iterate with your chat and keep improving the results that are provided to you. And again, folks, this is another thing that the paid version does. It does a great job at comparing documents, but you can still do that with your free version just by interacting with Copilot Chat. Now, I'll switch to our third use case. Our third use case is about meetings. I think we can all agree meeting recaps is probably where Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, the paid version, has made the most, I guess you could say, has been the most widely used feature. What does that mean? When you work with the paid version, you can go to a meeting that you recorded and you can access the meeting notes, as well as Copilot gives you the ability to extract actions from the meeting. So for example, if the meeting was, say, to coordinate the company-wide event for end of the year, if that was discussed and there were actions taken from the meeting, Copilot will tell you who was responsible or who was assigned to what activity, right? So we don't have the ability to do that the same way in the chat version, but I'm going to show you how you can fill in the gaps so that you have the same experience or the same outcome at the end of the day. So the first thing you need to know is that whenever you record a meeting in Microsoft Teams, the file of the meeting will always be stored inside your OneDrive, okay? And so how do you know? It's because you'll see that OneDrive has a folder called recordings. So here's a meeting that I recorded before this meeting, and this meeting was for us to talk about Project True North 365, this project related to supporting a client with their adoption of cloud. So we basically recorded this meeting so that we could have Copilot then analyze it and make insights or create insights from it. Now, very important, don't forget to record and enable script. If a script is not transcribed for the meeting, Copilot cannot know what was happening. So you always need to remember, if you want to use what I'm going to show you, you have to record and enable transcript, okay? So once you're done with that, and again, go to your OneDrive, go to recordings, and fetch the meeting link. And so we're going to copy this meeting link. And once we have copied it, we can go now to Copilot Chat. And I want to know, please share a brief summary of this meeting and present the action items with details on who was assigned what. And again, these may not be perfect prompts, but they'll do the job, so you'll see. So now that I have that, I just basically paste the link for Copilot to reference the file. And when I go in there, I'm just going to see what happens. Let's check it out. Here's a brief summary of the meeting and the action items. The meeting is in the final phase of the project. Backend development is complete. Stakeholder feedback was received. And the target completion date is for November 30th. So it's giving me a quick rundown of the meeting. And now I can also see the action items. So what can you do? You can copy this, put it in an email, and send it out. Folks, I think a lot of people don't realize they can do this with the free version. I highly encourage you to do this. It saves you so much time. Think about the times where you may not be able to attend a meeting and you still want to know what happened and who was responsible for what. Another example I'll give you for this, remember, Copilot is it's not just a verbatim recollection of what happened in the meeting. Copilot can think, right? So we can say, what questions could I have asked in this meeting? So essentially, I want the AI to help me think. And here are some of the things that I could have asked, right? I do this a lot. For example, when I meet with clients and I have a discovery meeting with them, I will ask the AI to help me think of questions to ask because sometimes we forget, right? So again, all these things, again, I won't, maybe I'm saying it too many times, but it blows my mind that are included in the free version, and I think a lot of people don't realize. Now, moving on, I'm going to talk about Excel, and I think we all agree, we could all agree that we work a lot with Excel documents and we have to analyze complex information on a given basis and either draw upon the Excel to estimate, calculate things, or maybe summarize data, or we may need to fix data in a spreadsheet, right? So I'm going to show you how you can use Copilot Chat to help you with some of those things. So I'm going to go now into Excel, and I think I have Excel open right there. There you go. I'm using Excel on the web. In this case, I don't know if you'll find the same experience with Copilot with Excel in the desktop app, but I suspect you do. So what I'm going to do in this case, let me just refresh my screen, make sure that everything looks good. There you go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have delivered, or our team has delivered a bunch of webinars. Okay, and we you can see them here. The webinars are about Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, Copilot, and whatnot. And for each of those webinars, we have noted down when people registered, also when they attended. Some people did not attend, as you can see here. And we also asked those people to give us a rating at the end of the webinar, right? And so this is obviously fake data, so you'll see that there's rating here shouldn't be because nobody attended that day, so I'll delete it. But nonetheless, fake data. What do I want to know? Well, I want to know, in this particular case, I want to know what are the events that were best attended. So, basically the ones that have always someone here. And I also want to know what the rating was for all the events. Okay, so I'm going to go to Copilot Chat, but in this case, rather than putting the file in the web portal, I'm going to go directly from the app. Why not? The cool thing here is when you launch Copilot from your app, is actually context smart and it knows what you have in front of you. Okay. Now, different would be if you launch it from here. So be careful. Okay. So if you launch it from here, it's a different story. It's not within the app. You have to launch it from the app. This is the one for Edge. And as you can see, it opens a different window. What I'm suggesting we do is we go from inside the app. Now I'm going to say, please provide a table with the events that were with the events that let's say with that by attendance and add a column to indicate the average rating that these events received. Okay, hope that's clear. So essentially I want to see a table with the top 10 events based on attendance, and please tell me how well were they received by people. All the information is here, but I just need a thinking partner to help me extract this. So let's see what happens when I do that. So Copilot starts to analyze the data and it provides the table. So I can now open this to the right a little bit so you guys can see. So it sounds like the one that was attended in the last, I think this is the last 3 months, was begin your AI journey with Copilot. Next, followed by Excel, and the average rating was this. And I would have taken me a little bit of fiddling around with pivot tables to get to this. I didn't have to, right? Now I can go further and ask, for example, please create a nicely or a nice visual to show this in a presentation. Let's see. It'll likely take a bit more. You can ask Copilot, by the way, to create visuals. You can ask it to create presentations, as you'll see in a second. You can ask it to create a spreadsheet. So for example, if I wanted to, I don't know, let's say replace all the names in a spreadsheet with fake names, I can ask Copilot to just download a spreadsheet with the new names. So remember, you can do a lot of things. Here it is, right? So then I can just copy this and maybe put it somewhere in the PowerPoint here, and off we go, right? So much more beautiful and professional than if I had to do it with Excel myself anyways. So I hope this makes sense. Now, again, you can do this from the app, or I could have easily just drag and drop the file and get the same results from interacting with the web portal. The difference would be the web portal would have given me the Excel to download, whereas when I do it here, I'm interacting with the data and the chat on one next to another. So quite handy. Now, the other thing I said is you can create content with Copilot. I think that's super important, right? Because a lot of us are creating PowerPoint presentations, Word documents, Excels all the time. So you don't necessarily want to do this, with just manually every time. So this is something that, again, is part of the paid version. And what it does, the paid version is basically you can go to, for example, PowerPoint and say, I want to create a PowerPoint presentation based on this document. Great. Well, why don't you try it here? Let's see. Create a one slide with this data. Let's see what happens. And again, you can do this in the web portal as well. You can create a PowerPoint, you can create an Excel, you can create Word documents, anything. The difference is if you create a Word document or Excel, it'll ask you to download it to your computer. But if you create a PowerPoint, it'll show it to you and it'll let you open it from within the app you're working and upload it to your OneDrive. Here it is. Your PowerPoint client is ready. Let's see. I want to look at it. Of course. There we go. Continue anyways. As I said, you see, the PowerPoint shows up. This is actually stored in my OneDrive, as you can see right there. It's inside my documents, and let's see, it does a beautiful job too. Again, another selling feature for the paid license, which is included in the free license, is the ability to format these PowerPoints in a way that looks good. And look, it's done it. It's added some animation, and it's just basically done a better job than I could have done. If you have your Microsoft PowerPoint template in Copilot, you can also choose from your templates and update this accordingly. So we talked about a few things. We talked about summary of emails and crafting better emails. Definitely can do. We talked about summarizing documents such as that RFP or that report that you have and insights from that document, which I think is really cool. And then comparing documents in relation to a website. We talked about recapping of meetings. That's probably the most widely used paid version that you'll hear. We talked about analyzing data, and now we looked at creating content. But that's not it. I want to show you something really cool, and I saved the coolest part to the end because I thought I wanted to surprise you with something really fun. So one of the things that Microsoft is doing right now is talking about Copilot agents. I don't know if you've heard the word agents, but agent is basically something similar to what we're seeing here is a little specialized AI bot that can help you answer specific questions, right? And so, for example, if you go here in your Copilot chat under Explore Agents, you'll see that in the free version, you actually have some pre-created Microsoft agents that you can use. For example, you can use the prompt coach to help you improve your prompt. So if you ever have a prompt and you want to get the best result, ask prompt coach and it'll help you narrow down what you're missing in your prompt. Or if you're looking to improve your writing, or if you're looking for brainstorming on a certain topic. So there's essentially agents for different reasons that you could use. Now, you can create your own agent. And I'm going to show you an example. So if I come again to Explore Agents here, I can go and create my own agent. This is one that potentially your organization may have disabled, but I see no harm in having this, to be honest with you, but maybe. So if you click on Create Agent, and I'm going to give you a use case that is actually dear to our hearts at Change Champions. We're constantly trying to figure out what's the latest and greatest in the Microsoft world. And trust me, it's incredibly difficult to keep up. They're constantly pushing new things, right? So when I create a new agent, we're going to call this the productivity hero. And this agent is going to help us stay up to date with all things SharePoint, Teams, OneDrive, and the like, right? So what I'm going to do here in the describe option is I'm going to ask the agent, or I'm going to use this prompt to create the agent. So it's very simple. So I'm going to go and say, I would like to create an agent for my team and I to stay up to date all news from Microsoft regarding products like Teams, SharePoint, and Copilot. This is basically using my my own words to program the agent, and this is the basics of how agents actually are going to be built in Copilot Studio, which is your the advanced version of this. In fact, we're using Copilot Studio, as you can see here at the top. This is Copilot Studio Lite, Microsoft calls it. So we'll put the prompt here and we'll see what Copilot does. So it's going to start thinking about what this agent needs to do. And there you go. So one of the things, the first things that it does, it created a description for the agent and also recommended prompts that you can already think, right, to use. Now, once you have this shell ready, what you can do is you can go to the configure button here. This is where I had added the name, if you recall, but I always start with describe because this is where you get started. But once you're ready, you can move to configure and you can see that it's already provided a description. It's an agent designed to keep the team informed about the latest news, updates, and announcements from Microsoft regarding Teams. It shares accurate and timely information and answers questions about these products. And then it gives the agent instructions, such as only communicate in English. For example, don't use technical speak, right? This is where you give the agent, you narrow down the agent behavior, if you will. Once I have this, what's very important here is that as you scroll down, you'll see you have to provide a knowledge source. So for me, for this particular agent, I'm going to use the Microsoft adoption site, which is where Microsoft makes most of their updates or communicates most of their updates with regards to this type of technology. So going to use this particular URL as the source from which the agent is going to pull information. at least the first place that it's going to look at. And you can see that you can prioritize the sources that you added. And so I'm going to say yes. I'm going to prioritize Microsoft. I don't want the agent just to look at all the things on the web because there's a lot of also things that are not maybe that good. And so I just want the agent to be more narrowly focused on this. But then, of course, also search out elsewhere if it needs it. Here's where you can update these little cards if you want to, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to try the agent before I publish it. What is the latest on Microsoft Copilot chat this month? Let's see. And there you go. And how do I know this agent is looking in the places that I want? Is that it's giving me the reference. As you can see, it's actually using the reference to this site for this work. So you can think of different use cases for this. For example, if you're someone that is interested in a specific something like maybe you're into meditation and you have a couple of sites where you may want to be able to query and databases that are publicly available, right? That would be a good example for this for you. Now, the limitation over the paid version is in the paid version, you must have guessed it, you can add other things that are not websites. So for example, you can add a SharePoint site. So now you can query against your SharePoint environment. For example, if you have a SharePoint site with policies, you can create an agent called the Policy Hero and get that agent to answer people's questions on their, what they're allowed or not allowed to do. So it goes beyond just public websites, which I think is really useful. But the functionality of agents is available in the free license and ready for you to use. When you're ready, you create the agent. And now what you can do is you can actually, it's going to be published and you can choose whether it remains private or if you want to share it with the rest of your colleagues, you can do so as well. So I can go to the agent now. You can see the agent, by the way, it's been pinned to the left-hand side here. And here's the agent. And all I need to do if I want to share it is go to the three dots, share, and now I can say with everyone in the organization, and then I can put this in a team chat, or I can basically add it to the conversation in a team chat, and people can interact with the agent the same way that I do. So I hope that that helps you and sort of paints the picture as to why we are so passionate about this. We feel that there's so much, I guess, value left untapped when you don't know enough about these things. And the reality is I think everyone is looking at the paid version as the saving grace, but we think here at Change Champions is that maybe there's an opportunity to educate more people on the free one, because it's going to be a while until organizations can pay the $30 times 1,000 users, and maybe we can already be telling people about these great things. Any questions, Ilana?
Haven't seen any in the chat that haven't been addressed, but one thing just to clarify, when you